Jesse Ventura, author of the new book that's on the bestseller list, on a bunch of the different bestseller list. Don't Start the Revolution Without Me. We have links where you can get it at Infowars.com, but it's in stores everywhere. We're going to talk more about that before he leaves us. Governor Ventura, you were going over during that last segment that some stations didn't get. Why hasn't there been an investigation when there's an investigation of a cop having an auto accident and getting hurt, or there's an investigation of a jumbo jet blowing up, or an investigation of the bridge collapse? I mean, it's not just that. Then we have how they've used 9/11 to take our liberties and freedoms, and how they directed us at the wrong country, like you mentioned, Iraq and Afghanistan, and how Bush then said, I'm not looking for bin Laden, I don't care where he is. And now how they're using anti-terror laws against the American people and federalizing everything. Can you give me your take on that, Governor?
Well, I certainly don't like it. We're called the United States of America, and that means states' rights. And for many things, I think states' rights should prevail. We always have a constant takeover by the federal government going on, and we have to stand up to it, and you have to find a way to do it, because we don't want to be the United States with no states. And that's the direction we seem to be going at. And that was one of my big disappointments in George Bush when he first took office. He said that he was going to be an old Federalist-style president, power to the states, which I agreed with. And every decision he's made has been just the opposite. And case in point, like, what is it now, 11 or 12 states have voted for medicinal use of marijuana, and yet the federal government won't allow it. Oregon, I know, twice has voted for dignity in death, that if you're not going to live and you're dying, you have the right to be in control of your life, and the federal government says no. And so things like that are very disturbing to me, because I like to have an option in this country that the state that I live in thinks a lot like me, and I have the option in which to live there. But more and more I'm seeing that leave, so I tend to live in Mexico more today.
Would you say that in many respects a third world country like Mexico has more freedoms than we have here?
Well, I'll put it to you this way. I could still go in the bar and have a cigar at a sports event. Smoke a cigar in the bar, you can't hear.
Well, that's the control freak nanny state, which is just...
and I say that laughingly. The other thing is, too, Mexico, I'm not saying Mexico has a great government, but at least you know they're corrupt.
I agree, yeah.
So you know that going in. But the thing that I find where I live, there's nobody of government anywhere around, so you just govern yourselves and we all get along great. It's like a libertarian paradise where I'm at.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
I take care of myself, Alex, and my family, and we help each other. My neighbors help if they need help. You pull each other out of the ditch, because I live in a pretty rugged area, and everyone pitches in, and it doesn't require government at all, even though there's all these laws and everything. Hey, if they're not around, they don't apply to anybody. Just take care of each other.
What kind of dog you got, Governor?
I have a Belgian Malinois.
Oh, those are neat dogs.
Oh, yeah. He's so smart. When he arrived here, he was literate in 3 languages, which made him the smartest in the house.
We're going to break.
And he's soon learning Spanish, number 4.
Amazing. We're going to break and come back with our final segment with the governor, unless I can twist his arm to stay even longer, maybe to the end of the hour. But I want to come back and talk some about the book. I want to talk about a Senate run. Let's go ahead and get into that now. I mean, are you going to run for the Senate, or how long until we know?
Here's how I feel right now. I don't know yet, and I have till July to decide. I feel like this. I believe strongly that on every ballot, federal, local, or whatever, there should be none of the above. So you can vote a vote of no confidence in your government. With this deficit, we should have no confidence in them. And I may offer myself up as that, because it isn't officially on the ballot, none of the above. But if I go file and put Jesse Ventura down, I then become none of the above. And so any disgruntled voter, and all I'll try to do at that point is run a very minimal campaign, and all I ask is to be allowed in the debates. Because if I can debate him, I can beat him.
Well, no doubt we need your voice in the U.S. Senate because you are a maverick, you are a somewhat of a renegade, and you're only a renegade because you're what we'd call an old-fashioned American, independence, liberty, freedom, and we need you. So I would certainly support you from Texas for a run for the Minnesota Senate because you could certainly wreak havoc on their plans and use a bully pulpit up there to expose what they're doing. So, Governor, we totally support you. We're going to be back in 3 minutes with Governor Jesse Ventura, and we'll also talk about his new book, Don't Start the Revolution Without Me. So I'm drafting you, Governor. I think you need to go ahead and run for the Senate. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
So many things going on in the world. Baby's dying.
And we have a short time left with Governor Ventura, so I'm going to try to move quickly. Governor, final comment on 9/11. I want to play you a clip that came out and was in major newspapers last week. You may have missed it, where I'm sure you've heard about how all these major, quote, wartime correspondents or experts they have on Fox, CNN, MSNBC are really on the Pentagon payroll. They're all former generals, of course, and colonels, and that they're putting out unified propaganda. They've now released hundreds of hours of these tapes, and on the tape, they say, wouldn't another terror attack get the people behind the war? We have Republican memos saying the same thing. And Rumsfeld says, yeah, the cure for the people not wanting to, go into Iran and other places is another attack. Here's that 1-minute clip. I want to get your take on this.
This president's pretty much a victim of success. We haven't had an attack here in 5 years. Hell, the perception of the threat is so low in the society today that it's not surprising that the behavior pattern reflects a low threat assessment. And the same thing is in Europe. There's a low threat perception. The correction for that, I suppose, is an attack. And when that happens, then everyone gets energized for another period. And it's a shame we don't have the maturity to recognize.
So the American people don't have the maturity to give up their liberty, so there's got to be another attack. The PNAC documents written by Dick Cheney in September of 2000 called for massive Pearl Harbor events to mobilize the empire. Zygmunt Brzezinski's book, Grand Chessboard, calls for giant terror attacks. Your take on that, sir?
Well, first of all, I got to apologize. There was a lot of static on there, and I had my ears are not any better than they used to be before. I had a hard time hearing it clearly.
Okay, well, let me just tell you what he says. He says, quote, the correction for the people not, wanting military action is another attack. And he said that's the cure for it, but barring having, another one of those, the people don't support the war.
And who said this?
Donald Rumsfeld.
Wow. Well, if this stuff's true, then my book is right on. We've got to have a revolution and take our country back.
Well, I agree. The book is on a bunch of the bestseller list. Why did you decide to write the book, Don't Start the Revolution Without Me?
Well, as a wake-up call, I actually, with 2 New York Times bestsellers, I got paid great front money and all that to do those books. This book I did with none. I wanted to do it down in Mexico with Dick Russell, and we got together every week and we'd work on it. And I wanted it to be more of a message and a wake-up call to try to wake up the United States of America that the two-party system is corrupt, and that the two-party system, that you have to change the system in which to change the government. And we've got to wake up to that fact, because if we don't, we could very much lose the republic, because that's what Thomas Jefferson warned about. That's what John Adams warned about, that political parties would eventually strangle the republic because decisions would be made on behalf of the political party, not on behalf of the republic. And that's what we're getting today. An interesting case in point, and we'll tie it back to 9/11 a little. I find it very interesting that the Whitewater investigation, which, in the end, all it did was turn up that the president cheated on his wife with an intern. They spent $100 million on that. For 9/11, they only spent $9 million. And I find that peculiar that, thousands of people were killed in one, and nobody died in the other one that I know of, or they couldn't prove. Maybe one person did, I guess. They talk about it, but they spent $100 $100 million to investigate that.
What do you think of Barack Obama and Hillary wanting socialized health care, and Barack Obama is saying we need to have the government control how many calories we eat? I mean, if you think the nanny state's bad, with San Francisco saying you can't drink bottled water and most cities banning smoking cigarettes even outside, they're now not letting people smoke in their own houses in some cities. Cops are getting fired who get caught and reported by other officers for smoking cigars on their bass boat. I'm sure you've heard about those cases. What do you think of the nanny state that's being pushed by the Democrats?
Well, and that's just as bad. You know, I know that I come down hard on the Republicans probably a great deal more because they're in power right now. But the Democrats will be no better.